Hello there. Before this video starts, I just need to say that I do not condone the exploitation and or illegitimate modification of video games. Everything in this video was shown and said in an informative intent.
A long time ago, gave me like a level 7 account with everything on it.
Oh, is it still unbanned?
Let me check.
Oh wait, fuck, I can't I can't level grind it because Astro is...
Hey there guys, it's me, GameCode Champion. You see this gameplay on the screen, right? Well, my friends, what if I told you that the weapons you see me using right here were modded in? I know, quite scandalous of me. But I'm not here to ponder on why I modded in those weapons. But instead, I'm going to talk about something that me, and probably a plethora of other players have experienced ever since the release of the PC edition. Something I would simply like to call the journey of a Pixagon modder. Now, to best describe this journey, I decided to make a graph. Now, as poorly as this was made, this will make a lot of sense once I explain it. But this graph is divided into 3 segments: the slope of excitement, the prolonged road of boredom, and finally, the wall of inevitable fate. These names and images probably don't make too much sense for you, and that's okay. I'm here to explain each of these in an interesting fashion, starting off strongly into the slope of excitement for Pixagon modders has a lot of interesting ways it can start. Some start because, well, they previously modded the game. Some start out of the curiosity of how modding works. For many players such as myself, however, we start because we want to max our shit out as soon as possible. Which in itself has its own reasons I'll get to later. But once we touch that precious little mod menu that we grab from sketchy Discord servers, well, the flow of excitement comes in. You know, turning back is still an option at this point. We could delete the files of this mod menu and never touch it again. But the excitement just can't be contained. Soon enough, you're adding weapons you thought you could never have. You start adding an amount of currency you can only see in dreams. You start adding on armor that'll make you feel invincible even to the toughest opponents. At this point, you feel unstoppable. However, it isn't uncommon to see, for a majority of people who do this, the journey ends as quickly as it started. Usually, this is either by flying too close to the sun, or to just laugh at how fast they can get themselves banned from the game. Either way, the journey ends just like that. However, for the few individuals who know what they are doing, who know how to safely mod without getting caught, they end up on As you get lower on the slope, you start learning a thing or two about how to get around the flawed security of Pixagon 3D. You realize how simple it actually is. For modders, there is a simple etiquette they typically follow, and no, this isn't a tutorial on how to mod. Don't add an assload of currency at once. In Pixagon, the theoretical amount of currency you can add onto yourself stands at around 45,000 to 75,000. This amount has mostly been agreed upon by the modding community, as around these values, you will most likely get flagged and banned from the game. However, these numbers are probably wrong, so if you are a modder, please correct me, bro. Just like currencies, it's also generally advised to not add every single weapon in the game, but more or less, just add the ones you need. However, if you were really itching to add every weapon, there is something called WebSocket mods, which pretty much just add shit without posing much risk. I don't know how they do it, and I think it's really cool. Do not add DLC weapons. For the love of God, don't add them. For some reason, the DLC weapons and skins are technically Pixagon's strongest form of anti-cheat, as it'll detect you when you add them to your account without paying for them on Steam. As sad as it is, they are trying to add some mitigation to the problem, so I don't know. A for effort? Moving on. Once you are at this point of your journey, you ask yourself the age-old question, now what? Well, you continue playing the game as you normally would, whether it be 3-cat spam, casual play, raffle spam, and catcher loading. You do this eventually becoming a half-decent player, averaging around 40 to 50 kills a game, because PC Edition really just does a thing to you, I guess. Occasionally, a new set comes out to the game. Being the modder you are, you decide to just unfairly add it to yourself before everyone else, just to test it, see if it has potential. You throw the new set in the back of your mind, and continue your usual shit. It's a rinse and repeat cycle of playing and adding new weapons every update. One day, you realize something. You're bored. It's all the same shit over and over again. Considering the current formula of Pixelgun 3D, there isn't really anything new to add to the table. You kill, win, maybe lose, repeat. Occasionally doing other leisurely tasks like point capture, team strike, clan raids, but nothing helps this boredom. You yearn for something new, but even the modding can't help you. You can't mod in new entertainment for a game like this. Then something sets in for you. This is literally the definition of insanity. Far Cry 3 described it the best.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
The reality is that you're in a constant loop of playing this game, a cassette tape on repeat. Yet, you've continued to do this. You realize that modding in weapons and armor only gave you temporary pleasure. It was never a full-on solution. Sure, you could, uninstall the game, but if you're like me, sometimes you feel the need to come back, despite the obvious dislike for this game. So instead, what if you just go out with a bang? What if you break the game in really funny ways? Allow me to introduce this right here. Now, for the sake of YouTube TOS, I cannot say the name of this mod, so the Austrian mod, that's what we're going to call it. Now, most people in the modding community call this mod dog shit, and that's probably the case. However, the features they added into this mod are just incredibly funny. I decided to use this mod and have some fun for the last time.
Taste all you feel, and all that you love, and all that you hate, all you distrust, all you save, and all that you give, and all that you deal, and all that you buy, big borrow or steal, and all you create, and all you destroy. And all that you do, and all that you say, and all that you eat, and everyone you meet, and all that you slight, and everyone you fight, and all that is now, and all that is gone, and all that's to come, and everything under the sun is in you. And the sun is eclipsed by the moon.
Just like that, my friends, comes the end of the line for Pixelgun modders. 9 times out of 10, modders will eventually see this coming, whether it be by flying too close to the sun, doing it by choice, or somehow it was by fate. But now, there's 2 options at this point. You could start it all over again and repeat the cycle, or you could be like me and some others, and finally close the chapter of Pixelgun 3D for good, and put it to rest. There are new opportunities for you out there. Before I end off this section, I just want this to be known. In a game like Pixelgun 3D, modding has unfortunately become a viable option. People do it to gain a sense of power, and to stand against the tyrannical Pixelgun developers. When you consider everything these developers put in place, with their scummy practices and false promises, it only just makes sense why people fly towards this path of maxing out their accounts. Let that be known, my friends. To end off this video, I do want to have a word and say that I am finally working on something amazing, and I'll try to keep everyone updated. But the work to go into it is definitely not for the faint of heart, so it'll take some time, but I think it'll be worth it. I want to thank everyone who made it to this point of the video, and I'll see you next time.